Welcome to round 3 of what has more influence over your movement. It's a pretty terrible title for a video series, but 28 votes total between Instagram and Facebook. We had 75% of people say that the pelvis had more influence than the rib cage on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it was 50-50. So I want to start, before I tell you what I think about this, I want to start by telling you a story. So it's pretty common that a client will come in, and if I'm going to do any type of this like biomechanics, breathing stuff with them, it's typically because that's something that they want to do. They want to come in and they want to move better. So a typical client's going to be, maybe they have lower back pain, maybe they have shoulder pain, it's knee pain. It's usually like these general feelings of being tight or in pain, not really a specific diagnosis for a specific joint, like they didn't have like surgery or something like that, right? It's more of a chronic thing through their hips, shoulders, spine. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off figuring out like what is the orientation of their spine. And we're going to do a postural assessment, and then we're going to do a movement screen so we can figure out where they're at in space and how they actually deal with that. And so really interesting, like in 2014 was the first time that I took a postural restoration course. And one of the principles, like one of the first principles they talked about, was not necessarily always chasing turning muscles on and trying to fix things. One of the principles was actually trying to shut things down and inhibit where people are really tight and compensating through their breathing and stuff. So that's actually the first thing that I would be addressing with a client, is their breathing and the position of their rib cage. And we do that for two reasons. One, when we can get a better position of our breathing and our rib cage, it has influence positionally and biomechanically over everything else in the body, including your pelvis. And the second reason is its influence on your nervous system. So when we can restore good breathing mechanics, a lot of times we can tone down the nervous system and people move better and they have better ranges of motion. So that's a pretty awesome tool when you think about it. And so in 2014, one of those courses that I was at, I was with one of my friends, Adri, just to show you the power of how breathing can influence somebody's body. So I don't remember if it was myokinematics or respiration in particular, but we're in this class, we're learning about breathing techniques, and we break off into groups to basically learn how to coach these techniques. And Adri's not even in my group. I look over and Adri is crying, and I'm like, what are they doing to her over there? And I walk over, and basically what they did is they did a drill with her to help her basically reposition her rib cage and her diaphragm. And it shut off some things in her nervous system and just kind of toned her down to the point where she became so parasympathetic and shut down that she just started crying. It wasn't like an upset crying, an emotional cry. It was just like this like relief cry. So it's pretty cool. Like over the years of doing these drills, it tends to have a stronger effect on people who do. She was an athlete in college, and people that I've helped with this stuff, like the more toned up and tight they are, the more we do the breathing, the bigger response they get. They feel really weird. So recently I was helping one of my friends, Jordan. So Jordan is like really powerful guy. He's really strong in the gym. From time to time, he's had some roadblocks, and he's reached out, and we kind of got together. And so first thing we did was focused on his breathing. I did some manual stuff with him, something I wouldn't do with clients. And he was so lightheaded, or he said it felt like it was being like high, basically. And I've heard a couple people say that to me after doing some of these drills and like really driving them in, as they feel like they're high. And it's crazy. It's just crazy to think that your breathing can have that much influence over how you feel in 10 or 15 minutes, right? So the reason I think that the rib cage has more influence over your movement isn't just because it has influence over the biomechanics and your posture and what's going on at the spine, but also that it taps into your nervous system. And so unless you guys have some drills in some pelvis drills that will get people to cry and get them to feel high, I'm going to stick with the rib cage having more influence over the pelvis. But if you disagree, let me know below, and I'm open to other suggestions. Obviously, it depends on so many factors, and I'm making you pick and choose here, which is hopefully making this fun And I know a couple of you are a little annoyed by that as well, but we're gonna have fun with it. So we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna do a round 4, but I'm gonna make this a little bit different than we've been doing. So instead of like what is best for movement quality, we're gonna talk about some things that might be bad for your movement quality. So what's worse for your movement quality? Sitting for 8 hours a day, or lifting with a rounded back? I'll put that one up on the story, and you guys can vote. Thanks again for voting. I really appreciate you guys participating. This is really fun for me. And if you have more questions about posture stuff, biomechanics, all the stuff that we talked about, if you're conflicted with my choice of picking the rib cage today, reach out. Like, we can have a conversation. You can try and change my mind. So have a good day. I will see you guys soon.